Still with me, former trial and appellate lawyer, Dr. Tracy A. Pearson. And Tracy, this judge he's marshaled this trial very well. It's a high-profile case, a lot to deal with, high-profile attorneys doing what they do. I think he made the right decision here. He determined that, in fact, it was the defense's burden. They had to show that the fact that they're being made to wait and figure out if Lori can be a part of this trial was prejudicial to them in some way. He didn't think they met that burden, and I think it was the right decision.
I would agree with you based on their state's case law. In looking at the decision, that case is coming to trial January of 2023, one way or another. And so he didn't rule out the idea of severance. But if Lori's case doesn't go forward with it, I think that Chad's looking at going to trial in January of 2023, regardless.
Absolutely, because what he said was, and that was going to be my next point, he said, this is not definitive on this issue. This is for right now. He said, you know, the defense waived their speedy trial rights, and that basically means you have to be tried by the state within a certain period of time, or you can waive that right to give them more time and give yourself more time to prepare, but it's not excessive, right? You can't go too far. So he said, look, I gave you a date of January 2023. We're going to trial that day. If she's not ready to go, and it's very possible she won't be ready, we are going to trial on that day, and he will then grant the severance, correct?
Yeah, I believe that's what he'll do. You know, obviously we can't know whether she'll be ready to go to trial. It complicates matters for the defense lawyer, of course. I mean, he has to plan for a number of different options. Is she at the table? Is she not at the table? Does he have to contend with you know, what defense she puts forward? It becomes very difficult for a criminal defense lawyer to figure out what strategy to take, because there's an old rule, and it is don't deviate from your plan. Do not deviate from your plan last minute. It never works out for you. And so he'll want to have that pretty firm going into the trial. And I think that's going to be hard under the circumstances. He's going to have to do a lot of prep work.
Yeah, no question about it. It's going to make it more difficult for him, Dr. Pearson. There's no question about it. But when balanced against the severance and what that would mean in terms of judicial economy, the judge talked about, avoiding inconsistent verdicts. And also, this is a little known thing that folks perhaps don't think about. You know, the family and all the witnesses having to go through this twice. That's something that the court has to think about as well. I know they're probably happy that, at least as of right now, they're only going to have to go through this once. And it is a conspiracy case as well.
Exactly. The family, in fact, has made a public statement that they are happy that they won't have to do this twice, or at least they believe they won't have to. And it is a totality of the circumstances analysis. He's balancing a number of different factors, the defendant's rights only being one of those factors.
And one final question, you know, we are dealing with the competency of Lori Vallow, the big issue here. It's been 5 months. Do you have any experience with this as to how long it might take? I mean, this could go on for a while. I know cases go on usually about a year, sometimes a year and a half before competency can be regained, if ever regained.
Yes, I've had a number of cases like this, and it depends on what is causing the incompetency. So, you know, each case is different. And it really requires the judge to stay on top of it. And I understand they're having periodic reviews.
Yes, they are. Those are not open to the public. We do not even know what happens in them, but they are periodic. And as the judge said, and as we mentioned, regardless of what happens with Lori, there will be a trial in January of 2023. So that, I think, right now we can say is a sure thing. All right, Dr. Pearson, stand by. Time for a break. Yesterday in Memphis, Billy Ray Turner was convicted of first-degree murder in the death of former NBA player Lorenzen Wright. After the break, we ask you if you think the jury got it right and that Billy Ray Turner was, in fact, the trigger man in the killing. That's next in our Daily Talkback segment. I can't wait. Keep it right here on Court TV.